I'm going to talk about how all of this newness, all of this change, this speed of change, how do we relate to that in an industrial world? How do we move an industrial tanker like Ramboll with 14,000, close to 14,000 people all over the world into a digital world? And especially when it looks like this. If you look at the ranking that Bain & Company did in 2017 for different industries, one of our main value chains, construction and buildings, are ranked number 20 out of 20, compared to financials, compared to media, compared to telecommunications, health, oil and gas, energy. Construction is number 20 out of 20. That's our starting point. How do you do that? There's a glimmer at the end of that tunnel. Things are moving. Things are happening. Because what we have to remember, a company like Ramboll or a technology company anywhere in the world, is seeing more and more what we can do with the technology and the deep competence that we have. We're seeing, for instance, in our world, that digital twin, which is a digital footprint of anything, actually, whether it's a power plant, whether it's a building, whether it's an oil platform, whether it's a water plant, anything that we work with can be made into a digital twin, a 3D, 4D, 7D model, which through sensoring is simulating the reality. And as we speak, through artificial intelligence, that is actually moving into becoming a predictive digital twin. Predictive. Telling us how things will move in the future, given the data we receive now. We also see smart society, smart cities, livable cities. Call it what you want. With human beings wanting to connect, wanting to be part of smart solutions, wanting life to be simpler and easier and more sustainable, wanting energy solutions that are good, wanting logistics, transport, housing, linked to smart solutions. And of course, this area is very much talked about before as an area of the big ICT companies. But what we see is this will stop unless you have the domain technology knowledge of energy, of buildings, of transport, logistics. And our business had that. And then it's about data. Data is the new gold, and you heard Peter said that as well. Data is the new gold, it's the new oil. But what do we do with it? How do we get the overview of what we have of data? In our company, we have data about everything technology. Every job we did, we have data. We have data about, our clients' data, and we have open source data. How much do we work with that? How much do we analyze that? How do we, in a structured manner, utilize that in order to establish services? Data as a service or data-enabled services. And we're looking at that now. We're really moving into that. And the future is here with us now. Then I'm going to show you a couple of examples. If you look at this, these are different elements, different dimensions that are relevant when you plan a building. And if you look at shadowing, radiation, wind, solar reflection, sight lines, base loads, everything relevant around a building, you could say that these 10 in this circumstance, different dimensions, will influence the choices that a client makes when you build a building. And if you look behind me now, you will see a video of a plot in the London area where we sit down together with the client and we push the button on different dimensions. It's not like we used to do manually, where we sat down, did the design, did a check, come back, did a check, come back, and we thought we did what the client wanted. And then we ended up with something maybe after a year or something, okay, we agreed this is what you want. We checked out the solar thing, we check out the different data that is influencing the choices we make when we build a building or design a building. And what we do here is we utilize this. We have a digital algorithm, and we sit with the client from hour one. This goes faster, it creates better quality, and it creates value for our clients much quicker. And how is this influencing the way we work in our daily lives in Ramboll, in a company like Ramboll? I'll come back to that. Then I have another example. We talk about platforms. Everyone has platforms. But what do we actually do with the platform? In Finland, we have embarked on a journey where we have established a platform that is relevant to the real estate community. And we combine the digital twin, the 3D modeling, or the modeling of reality, as I just talked about. We combine that with the data that we have on which is relevant for different real estate investors. And we combine it with interaction with the client ongoing all the time. And we allow the client to make choices from day one. We also have on that platform the opportunity for different clients to interact with each other or to create partnerships. So this creates actually an ecosystem. And it also creates an opportunity for us to offer to our clients a totally new business model where we can help our clients after they start operating their buildings or their parts of a city or their product towards their clients again. When they start operating, we can help them optimizing on a continuous basis. So we establish a life cycle business model together with our clients. And both of these examples are showing that we're working with clients in a different way due to technology. And of course, a company with 13,000 or even more than that, extremely competent people, we have the technology. We know the technology. But if we start pushing technology without looking at that as an opportunity to work with our clients in a different way, we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot. We have to think, this is creating value. We work along the blue line with higher value from day one compared to the gray line, which is yesterday's news. And when we do this, we are talking to our clients about this is value, but when we do something for you, dear client, in half the time, we cannot have the old business model anymore. We have to change our business models. We have to say time and material, dear friends, might not be the optimum anymore. Because if we're going to give you something on half the time, what's happening to our monetization? How much money will we earn? So when we create new value through digital innovation, or innovation as such, we need to find new business models. And this is digital development of an industrial company. Yes, we have the technology, but the most important part is where do we find ourselves in the value chain? How do we interact with our clients? And how do we monetize? How do we share the value that we create based on new technologies? I used to live all over the world, and I used to work in different industries, and I wanted to share with you my thinking on digital. And you will recognize something that you heard already before today. First of all, if you want to move an industrial company into a digital world, you have to remember digital is global. Digital is across all functions. It goes across all industries. And our clients, due to digital solutions, know everything everywhere. It's not like they're extremely local anymore. They're actually seeing what everyone else has. We have to relate to that. That's one thing. Another thing is that digital also gives the opportunity to create structures, the way we work internally, that goes across the whole company at one time. So we can centralize some things we do, and still stay local, close to our client, and relevant in a local market. This combination is very new, both to centralized companies and decentralized companies. Ramboll is a very decentralized company, based on a lot of mergers and acquisitions over time. If we can enable ourselves to actually work together and join forces where we need scaling and where we need efficiency, we can release capacity to innovation close to our clients and in the local markets. Digital is global. Then, the client is the boss in the digital world. The customer is actually deciding what the customer wants, both because they're seeing what everyone else has, but also because the opportunity for our competitors, or any competitor in any market, in any industry, is to move very quickly because of digital solutions and software-based solutions. And this story, you might wonder why I have some Myanmari monks on this picture. I used to work in Telenor Group. I was head of technology and marketing and development, and we launched the first communication services for the Myanmar people in 2013-14. And when we did that, 5% of the Myanmar people had a link to the internet. 5%, and they were mostly part of the junta, actually. Then, what happened was that we were launching. I went down there the day before we were launching in Mandalay. And we thought we were extremely customer-centric, so we said, okay, we have the experience from Bangladesh. We know that the level of the GDP in Myanmar is approximately the same as in Bangladesh, so we will start with offering them voice and SMS and 2G. They'll be so happy. I sat down with our distributors in Mandalay the day before launch, and I interacted very customer-centric, thought I. And then they looked into my eyes, and the only question all of them had, all of them, was how fast can I download? We did a huge mistake. We didn't listen to the customer. They wanted 4G, they wanted data, they wanted to be on YouTube. They had seen through the globalness, what do they have in Thailand, what do they have in Singapore, what do they have in Malaysia? And why shouldn't we jump that queue? So I called home, we changed the strategy, it took some time, but 80% has the access to internet in Myanmar today, and they're on 4G. Leapfrogging, and I just touched upon it. If something takes time and stays manual or analog for a long time, disruption will happen extremely quickly. And we have to remember that in an industry that moves slowly. So if we are slow, or our clients are slow, the value chains we work with are slow, the disruptors will come in extremely quick. And this is a picture from Shanghai. In Shanghai, you have approximately 50,000 taxis. Those taxis, you can try to jump into one of those taxis and use a MasterCard or a Visa. It's not going to work. They don't want to pay those 5% extra using a card. They don't care about cars in Shanghai. They don't do cars. It's either cash, which the tourists are using, or it's WeChat, which all Chinese are using. WeChat is the same as WhatsApp and Messenger, only extremely rich in different services inside of it, including financial services. They have jumped the queue, and the cards are jumped. Can you imagine how it is to be MasterCard and Visa when China is jumping you? Not good. So if you don't want to feel that disruption, be ahead of it. Transforming core business is another very important thing I would like all the industrial people in the room to think about. It sounds so compelling when Peter Fisk is talking about being forward-leaning, disrupting yourself, be a hacker, And we have growth mindsets. A lot of people in this room probably do. But to actually make that happen to your core business in an industrial company is not easy. But you have to. My experience is that if you establish a digital floor or Telenor Digital or the hub in Danske Bank, or as we are doing currently, establishing an innovation accelerator, which is extremely cool inside Ramboll, we have to remember the main point is to utilize that innovation tool to impact core business. It's not about having red shoes and eat pizzas in the evening. It's not about one group of people being extremely cool and the rest of the company being, trying to survive. It's about plowing what you learn from the digital work you do into reality and be ready to be bold and cannibalize yourself with the right timing. That is so difficult and it's not easy, but when you do it, you have to do it, you will win. Never forget the core business. That's what you're actually changing. Then mobilizing competence. And of course, in a company like Ramboll or other large industrial companies, you will have a lot of competence, deep competence, but you will also lack competence that you really need for the future. And we, to have the overview of what competences you have, to have the overview of what competences you need, and to see how you can actually build what you need and take out what you don't need, and to get this to move across geographies, across functional areas and markets, between people all over the world. It's a huge task. And you need to do it because it needs to move fast. And you can do it through digital tools. You can do it through culture and ability to share and collaboration. Point is, if it doesn't happen, you're losing. And the speed it needs to happen with is very, very high. And it's possible. But it takes collaboration. It takes an openness and curiosity and the mindset that we just heard about. And a forward-leaningness that we might not have from the start. I have a Tesla. I was so happy when I heard the story of the Tesla here. Because I really, really hate cars. And I'm personal now. I've been in top management of many companies, and I came with my Skoda. And everyone was flabbergasted because I couldn't drive, small cars like that. And I said, yes, I can, because I'm just going from A to B. And cars are smelly. They are noisy. I never liked them. And they never really worked for me. They stop once in a while, and Then I met Tesla. And I'm going to give you an insight to the feeling I had. Who here got their first iPhone in 2007? What kind of feeling was that? After you've been sitting like this with a Nokia, huh? Yeah. And I was on a group executive board of a telecommunications group. So I was one of the first in Norway that got this. When I turned it around and it kind of followed me with graphs and all of that, I was just, ooh, it's a feeling. And when I sit and drive my Tesla, I'm Norwegian, so I drive Tesla, that's what we do. I get the same feeling. It's like driving an iPhone. It's a wonderful feeling. And what's my point with this? Yes, we should listen to the customer. We have to, give the customer what the customer needs and what the customer wants. But in addition to that, there's something more, which is possible for someone that thinks digital or innovative or client-centric. That is the feeling you get when you get the service, when the product is given to you, or when you buy something. What kind of feeling do you have? What's the outcome? How is it? And the how, never underestimate the how. How is it to be a client of Ramboll? How is it to be a customer of Danske Bank? How is it to relate to a telecommunications company and be a customer at the end of that complex value chain? It's extremely tiresome sometimes. And if we don't do anything about that, someone is coming in, born digital, and they're going to take over the customer. And we just have to learn it. We have to take it seriously. Think about the Tesla feeling. So how does this relate into the leadership of an industrial company? What does it take to get there? First of all, create an innovative culture. I just mentioned our launch this week of an innovation accelerator. This company will bring people together from all over the world. They will sit together, they will go through courses, they will go through idea generations, they will establish projects, and they will learn a lot through this accelerator. But that's not worth anything unless we plow this back into the core business and the company as such, and that we, over time, through patience, build a culture based on what we learn. But the culture is important, and it's not happening overnight. And culture eats strategy for breakfast. You know that. Then it's about agility. It's about the ability to move and take quicker decisions. I've been part of top management for the last 10 to 15 years. I'm more than 50 years old. And I can tell you, for me to be part of a new leadership style where top management has to relate to experts much more, where you'd make decisions based on 70% knowledge instead of DG1, DG2, DG3, reference case, DG4, it's not happening anymore. You have to be able to lean forward, take other kinds of risks, understand expertise that you didn't know before. And the agility that lies in that goes all the way from the top and throughout the organization as part of the ability to work more iterative. And then, of course, it's about combining the evolution and the revolution. To streamline your processes, to clean up legacy, to do everything simple in the journey between here and towards the client. Step by step by step evolution. And then be ready for the real disruption that might either hit you in the back of your head, or you can be prepared for it and change it yourself. Change the way you work, change the technologies you're utilizing, change the way you work with your clients. And then it's about collaboration and speed and the priorities you have to do. Ramboll has seen that there's an open space for taking a digital innovation position. And in our industry, and in the value chains and towards the clients that we're serving, and we're ready to do it. We're ready to become a digital leader in our industry. Thank you so much.